Is debt beating you down? You need discipline. You need the Debt Ninja. If you've been caught in a financial trap and need to be set free, then you need the Debt Ninja. Want to stop those harassing collection calls, start saving thousands in interest and fees, and get out of debt fast? Then you need to call the Debt Ninja. The Debt Ninja will find the best companies across the country that will help you consolidate all your bills into one easy payment, reduce your payments by 30 to 50%, and get you out of debt fast. If you have unsecured debt of $10,000 or more, such as credit cards, loans, or medical bills, call the Debt Ninja for a free 15-minute consultation.
Call 800-826-1246. 800-826-1246. That's 800-826-1246. Call today.
The Debt Ninja.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control over your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank account, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problems now by calling the experts at Tax Mediation Services and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. Tax Mediation Services is accredited by the Better Business Bureau. Call now for a free case review and a price protection guarantee quote. Call Tax Mediation Services now at 800-610-9050. That's 800-610-9050. 800-610-9050.
All writers are prone to becoming so attached to our characters and stories that we struggle to see why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing. Black Wolf Editorial Services, who strives to enable writers to develop and grow, shaping stories into masterpieces that can stand the test of time. Editing services are provided for all genres and all age categories. Services range from complete short stories to line edits to full-length novels, and copy editing for those who parent for publication. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your website, as well as help with those book blurbs and promotional material. We won't abandon you to the masses. We want to celebrate with you in this perspective. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing and maturing it. For a full list of services and prices, visit us at blackwolfeditorial.com.
You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all set to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
My name is Jessie. I'm a United States Special Forces widow. This gives me a unique perspective.
All right, this is Jessie. How y'all doing out there today? know I miss you when I'm not here. When I'm not here with you guys. You know I do. You know I do. Alright. And for anybody who was listening through the intro, I apologize if it was dead air. I was having an audio issue and didn't know it. I was busy telling you I was on air. Besides, you missed the intro and the commercials. I can play it again if you want, but I'd rather not waste the showtime, because, well, it's Monday night, and the Stafford voice is hot on my heels. Oh, yeah. Stafford voice is right on my heels. So I can't run over tonight. And Wednesday night, I can keep you guys late. I really can. Because nobody's claimed that hour. So, week 2 in the battle for Mosul. Yes, week. What is going on? I mean, really, what's going on in week 2 of the battle for Mosul? Well, I got some stories for you. As usual, I have done my show prep. Alright. Give me just a minute to find the right article, because there's a whole stack here. Yeah. There is a whole stack of stuff here. You know, every night when I get off the air, I still have articles left that never make it. Alright, I'm just sorting them out real quick. I've had such a busy day. I have been busy being a military wife since dawn's early light. I've been busy planning a holiday party for the unit. I've been doing interviews for Jessie's coffee shop. And many, many, many more things. Don't forget, I work. So it has been one busy day. And then I've got to come here and visit with you guys every day. Well, at least 5 days a week. Sorry, if you're listening on Saturday or Sunday, it's a pre-record. 9 out of 10 times. Every once in a while I'll do something real special, which, speaking of specials, oh yeah, you know I always do my station news first. Yeah, specials. Are you a Star Trek, Star Wars fan? Star Trek versus Star Wars. December 17th. Right here on KLRN Radio. Oh yeah. December 17th. Let me get you the exact time on that. Because you'd think I have this stuff memorized. Sorry, I don't. Alright, let me get you the exact time on this. I was just talking about it 20 minutes ago. But, as I'm sure you've... Okay, so it's going to be at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, December 17th. Now, that's United States time. For those of you that need this translated, I'm sure we can arrange something. You can hit me up at Jessie's POV. I will more than happily figure it out and let you know. It's going to be Star Wars versus Star Trek, and if you have a Stargate comment, it's welcome too. This is not Doctor Who versus Star Wars, though, please. Okay? It's alright? It's alright. Okay. Week 2 of Mosul. Now remember, at the end of last week, they'd gone off and attacked Kirkuk. And we're all sitting here going, wait a minute. Wait, what? Diversionary tactic, folks. Alright, let's take a look at what exactly is going on. Iraqi forces have fought their way into 2 villages near Mosul as the offensive to retake the city enters its second week. Iraqi special forces began shelling Daesh positions before dawn on Monday near Bartella, a historically Christian town of Mosul that they had retaken last week. With patriotic music blaring from loudspeakers on their Humvees, they then pushed into the village of Tabzawa, about 9 kilometers from Mosul, amid heavy clashes. After entering the village, they allowed more than 30 people who had been sheltering in a school to escape the fighting. Mosul, Iraq's second largest city, fell under the control of Daesh in 2014. Several countries are involved in the battle to reclaim the city. Turkey, which on Sunday confirmed its first attempted shelling of Daesh positions near Bashika, a key town near Mosul. And they did the shelling at the request of the Peshmerga. For those of you who aren't sure, the Peshmerga are the Kurds. Yes, the Peshmerga are the Kurds. Alright. So Turkey's kind of helping the Kurds? Wait a minute. Right now, in that exact spot, in that exact situation. Now, this does not mean Turkey's playing nice with Kurds everywhere. But at that one time and place, it's the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Turkey's moves on Sunday raised tensions, however, between Ankara, capital of Turkey, and Baghdad. Relations have been strained after Turkey sent hundreds of troops to the Bashika region to train anti-Daesh fighters. Baghdad labels the move a violation of sovereignty and demands Turkey withdraw, a call which Ankara ignores. Elsewhere, Iraqi federal police and military-style force pushed into a small village in the Shura district south of Mosul, where they fired a large anti-aircraft gun and rocket-propelled RPGs, rocket-propelled grenades, as they battled Daesh fighters. They later appeared to have secured the village, a cluster of squat homes on a desert plain, and handed out water and other aid to the civilians. The U.S. coalition said it carried out 6 airstrikes near Mosul on Sunday, destroying 19 fighting positions and 17 vehicles, as well as rocket and mortar launchers, artillery, and tunnels. I have a feeling they're destroying the tunnels. Yes, they destroyed 19 fighting positions, 17 vehicles, rocket launchers, mortar launchers, other artillery pieces, and tunnels. It's really hard sometimes to tell what the sentence is saying without the commas in the appropriate place. That's why I use an editor, folks. No, seriously, it's why I use an editor. Human Rights Watch, meanwhile, is calling into an investigation on the purported airstrike in northern Iraq that struck a women's section of a Shia mosque in the town of. The strike happened amid a large Daesh assault on the nearby city of Kirkuk. It was meant to distract the Iraqi forces and their allies from the massive operation around Mosul. The Daesh attack on Kirkuk, some 170 kilometers or 100 miles southeast of Mosul, lasted for 2 days and killed at least 80 people. Mainly members of the Kurdish security forces who assumed control of the city in 2014 as Iraqi forces crumbled before a Daesh attack. Or Daesh advance. Human Rights Watch and the Cook's residents believe that the attack was an airstrike because of the extent of the destruction and because planes could be heard flying overhead. The New York-based watchdog said at least 13 people were reported killed. The U.S.-led coalition and the Iraqi military, which are waging the offensive to drive Daesh from Mosul, and are the only known parties to be flying military aircraft over Iraq. The U.S. has denied unequivocally conducting the deadly airstrike. Iraqi Brigadier General Yahya Rasool, spokesman for the Joint Military Command, confirmed the Iraqi government was investigating the attack. He declined to say whether Iraqi or coalition planes were flying in the area at the time of the explosion. The campaign to retake Mosul comes after months of planning and involves more than 25,000 Iraqi troops, Kurdish forces, Sunni tribal fighters, and state-sponsored Shia militias. Able to take weeks, if not months, to drive Daesh out of Iraq's second-largest city, which is still home to more than 1 million people. That's a quick overview of how it's going. They are making progress, alright? I still want to know what's next. Now, I do have an audio clip for you, and this is about what Turkey is doing. Why is Turkey being so, let's call it stubborn? Okay? Let's call it stubborn. Why is Turkey going, we're not leaving? Alright, let's take a listen.
Comments. Earlier I spoke to Sona Çoptay, the Senior Fellow and Director of the Turkish Research Program at the Washington Institute. What a remarkable situation. On Sunday, the Iraqi Prime Minister, quote, Turkish troops will not be allowed to participate in the liberation period. Then you've got the Turkish President Erdogan saying his troops are mission for this and we're not planning to get it. A defiant follow-up from Mr. Abadi. This is not auguring well for coherence on the battlefield.
Indeed, the crisis between Turkey and Iraq is escalating, just war of words, but this is actually a base inside Iraqi territory called the Bashika, where they have over 1,000 troops, including some tanks, to which the Iraqi government is objecting. Turkey saying troops are there to help take Mosul state. Iraqi government does not want any independent forces. They want the entire military action to be governed by their own command. And I think we're seeing really a conflict. So strategic battle. Turkey wants, in my view, Turkey is preparing for the day Iraq and Syria will be weak states, and the country, Ankara, wants to have influence in both of those places. And that's why I think it's unlikely that Turkey will pull.
Also, how much is it about expanding Turkish influence into northern Iraq to blunt the Kurds and defend Sunnis against Shia militia, while at the same time the Shia militia, they can't wait to have a go at the Turks?
I think Turkey has seen the writing on the wall that there will be really no Iraqi state and Syrian state for a while. Will exist, but there won't be unified states. So these are going to be weak states producing a lot of instability. Turkey is now preparing by creating spheres of influence in northern Iraq and northern Syria. Take, for instance, the recent Turkish incursion into Jarablus, allow Turkey to create a safety belt in the northern part of Syria. And although Turkey in the far reaches of Iraq, in the north, in Kurdish areas, now it's stretching in further south around Mosul. So I think this is really Turkey preparing for the or for the day when Iraq and Syria don't exist, so that it has a cordon sanitaire.
So, Turkey will tell you it's for their own protection, because they basically don't think Iraq and Syria can protect the borders. However, one of those cases of a lot of moving pieces, we don't know. Now, remember the mosque I mentioned? Here's a brief audio clip about the mosque.
Military spokesman Colonel John Dorrian said Monday the U.S.-led military coalition battling ISIS in Iraq has definitively determined that it did not carry out a deadly strike on a mosque last week. Dorrian said the coalition had notified the Iraqi government of its findings. Earlier, Human Rights Watch said at least 13 women and children had died during the attack on the women's side of a mosque in the town of Dakuk, which is around 19 miles south of Kirkuk. Human Rights Watch said its findings were consistent with an airstrike having struck the mosque, adding that there was also a Kurdish Peshmerga base on the outskirts of Dakuk. The city is also within shelling distance of ISIS forces, the group said.
has denied any connection to the attack on the mosque. I think that's probably accurate. Now, with the Kurds being there, my mind turns to Turkey. However, do I have any proof of this? No. Do I think Turkey is crazy enough to send a bomber over Iraqi airspace? U.S. fighters, Iraqi fighters, and not to mention, I'm sure there's some sort of air defense system in certain places in Iraq. Whether it's all operational, I don't know. But I'm not sure they're that crazy. That's the only thing. But I'm not sure. I really don't know. So it's an interesting thought, and I'm going to try and work on it. I don't have a definitive answer on that question. Alright, let's move on. Yes, we're still dealing with Mosul. We're just talking a little bit more about it. Different angle. What can I say? As the alliance of Iraqi and Kurdish forces push to retake the city of Mosul from Daesh, there should be no doubt what the group plans to do next. It will fight to the bitter end to defend its most populous and symbolic stronghold. After all, it was in Mosul that Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, the city's leader for 2 years, before he became Daesh's leader in 2010, declared a caliphate from the pulpit of an iconic 12th century mosque. If Daesh loses Mosul, the group has clearly articulated contingency plans, a strategy it was frequently broadcast on multiple platforms for the past 5 months. Temporary retreat into the desert, called Inhiyaz. Inhiyaz appeared in May in the last speech delivered by Abu Muhammad al-Adini, the group's spokesman who was killed in an American airstrike. Mr. Adani, explained that the territorial losses did not mean defeat and that militants would fight until the end and retreat to the desert, preparing for a comeback just as they did between 2007 and 2013. I am looking for a clip. Bear with me for just a second. This is literally a show prep clip that I prepared and never aired about Daesh troops and fighting to the bitter end. Bear with me for just a moment. I apologize for not having it properly pulled up for you. Can't find it in another couple seconds, we will move on. Right, I don't have it, but essentially it was a U.S. general saying that, here it is. I'll let it speak for itself.
This is a strong network. They do rely on guidance from their centralized leadership. So I would imagine there is some indication that there's direction coming. I mean, some of what we saw in the Manbij fight was direction from Baghdadi to his fighters to fight to the death. Obviously, they didn't. So they didn't follow his direction, which may be an indication of the state of ISIL, at least in some cases here. So I do think there is direction coming from the centralized leadership, but again, we have to respect our enemy, and we have to recognize that he has leadership at the lower level that is also going to continue to make decisions down there about what they're doing.
All right. So as you heard in a previous attack on Manbij, ISIL, ISIS, or Daesh, same song, 3 names, or that's the 3 most common, the fighters did not fight to the death. This makes me wonder, what makes them think they'll do it this time? Because they clearly didn't do it a previous thing. Is that why Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi stayed in Mosul? The only thing I can think of as to why he stayed in Mosul. Wants to force people to fight to the death. And as we discussed on the religious terrorism episode on Saturday Slowdown, and if you didn't listen, it's well worth a listen, as Justin Kinney and I discussed, and I don't have the clip for you, I apologize, death doesn't scare these people. Can't scare them with death. Death is not enough to make them want to run. Death is only enough to get them, in their minds, they're going to get rewarded if they die. If they die in the battle, they get rewarded. 72 virgins in the express train to paradise. Some variation thereof. Alright, we are at the bottom of the hour. My, oh my, where did the time go? I'm going to ask you to hang in there with me while we take this commercial break. And I will see you on the other side.
You can lay down if you wanna. You can run away if you wanna. You can pretend that this is totally okay if you wanna. You can play dead if you wanna. Forget what they said if you wanna. Turn your back on the country needing you right now. But I don't wanna.
The following message contains a special offer for listeners of this station. Are you a man over 40? Are you constantly looking for the nearest bathroom? Do you wake up multiple times a night to use the bathroom? Right now, Perfect Prostate is sending out free bottles of their groundbreaking new formula to listeners of this station. Perfect Prostate Formula was developed by medical doctor Mitchell Fleischer, and its ingredients have been clinically studied to reduce your frequent nighttime bathroom visits and promote healthy urine flow. Right now, preferred customers get their first bottle of Perfect Prostate absolutely free. There's nothing to lose. Perfect Prostate is guaranteed to reduce that constant urge to use the bathroom, especially at night, and promote healthy urine flow. Don't wait. Call now for your free bottle. Just pay shipping and processing. Dial 1-800-675-0251. That's 1-800-675-0251. Supplies are limited. One free bottle per household. Call now. Dial 1-800-675-0251. That's 1-800-675-0251.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control over your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank account, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problems now by calling the experts at Tax Mediation Services and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. Tax Mediation Services is accredited by the Better Business Bureau. Call now for a free case review and a price protection guaranteed quote.
Call Tax Mediation Services now at 800-610-9050. That's 800-610-9050. 800-610-9050.
All writers are prone to becoming so attached to our characters and stories that we struggle to see why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing to full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, shaping stories into masterpieces that can stand the test of time. Editing services are provided for all genres and all age categories. Services range from critiques of the short story through to the line edits of the full-length novel and copy editing for those preparing for publication. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your website, as well as help with those book blurbs and promotional material. We won't abandon you to the masses. We want to celebrate with you in your successes. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services and prices, visit us at blackwolfeditorial.com.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it. There to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
You can lay down if you wanna. You can run away if you wanna. You can pretend that this is totally okay if you wanna. You can play dead if you wanna. Forget what they said if you wanna. Turn your back.
All right, thank y'all for hanging in there with me. Now, we're shifting gears. We've spent the bulk of the first half of the show on Mosul, as I have since the assault on Mosul to retake the city from Daesh had started. But got a couple other stories I want to bring to you. Now, this is an editorial I'm going to bring up. The conflict in Yemen is intensifying. The U.S. Navy launched cruise missiles at radar sites in areas controlled by Iran-backed Houthi forces in retaliation for attempted missile strikes on U.S. vessels, and Iran reportedly sent warships to the waters off Yemen. The moves risk bringing Iran into a direct confrontation with the United States and Saudi Arabia, its ally. But while Iran will not skip an opportunity to poke its regional rival in the eye, Tehran does not want overt confrontation with the United States in Yemen. U.S. action came after two of its ships came under two separate missile attacks near Bab al-Mandeb Straits. Both missiles failed to reach their targets. A third attack reported over the weekend is under investigation. Missiles were launched from Houthi-controlled territory in the north of Yemen, but it's still unclear by whom. The Houthi rebels denied carrying out the strikes. The U.S. response coincided with a report by Iran's semi-official Tasnim news agency about Tehran's deployment of military vessels. Timing of the report by Tasnim, which has close links to Iran's Revolutionary Guard, implied that Iranian deployment was a response to the U.S. strikes, as the strikes could lead to a greater Iranian involvement in Yemen. Iran's Alvand and Bushehr warships were sent to patrol the Gulf of Aden, one of the world's most important shipping routes, then on to Somalia, followed by Tanzania on anti-piracy patrol. Importantly, the ships were dispatched October 5th, 8 days before the Tasnim announcement. The announcement by Tasnim, which has close links to Iran's Revolutionary Guard, was typical hardline Iranian grandstanding at a time when the U.S. was preparing to respond to the missile attacks. More generally, Tehran, which has repeatedly asked the United States to leave the region, clearly wants to avoid direct confrontation with U.S. forces. While Iranian rhetoric, particularly from hardline elements and Revolutionary Guards, highlights Iranian strength and its ability to withstand confrontation with Washington, Iranian officials see this as a losing battle. Alright, do I think The Iranian-backed Houthis fired those missiles. Yes. Point blank, your host thinks they did it. Now, do I think they're going to deny it from now until forever? Of course. Why? The Houthis know if they really ticked us off, the little Saudi backing, we could stomp a mud hole in them. We could stomp them so deep into the ground, it wouldn't be funny. All right. Looking through an article I planned to go with, but I'm kind of taking a second look at it. Staying with Iran. I'll do this one, not the other one. The other one, I'm going to have to do a little more research. I will give you the title of it. Iran just pulled off a soft coup in Lebanon. And I'm not prepared to discuss Iran and Lebanon at this time. At least not properly prepared to bring you an intelligent discussion on the matter, which is why I will wait. Maybe I can get spun up for it by tomorrow. This is comments from Iranian President Hassan Rouhani. Rouhani chastised U.S. presidential contenders Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump on Sunday, calling the American election a choice between bad and worse. Is it amazing how the Iranians see our choices about the same way as the majority of Americans seem to see them? I found this amusing, and that's why I'm bringing it to you. Rouhani used the opportunity to criticize the bare-knuckle style politics that has defined the race. Look at their way of speaking. Look at their way of speaking. They accuse each other and the way they mock one another, Rouhani told the crowd. Do we want such a democracy in our country? Do we want such elections in our country? Iran has received a good amount of attention in the election, with Trump describing a U.S.-led deal to scale back the country's nuclear program as terrible. Clinton has defended the deal, saying the negotiations lowered the threat posed by Iran, though she added that the country continues to destabilize regional governments, support terrorist groups, and threaten Israel. Clinton has suggested Iran is violating UN Security Council rules with its ballistic missile program. If they're violating it, which the evidence seems to suggest, they should be held accountable, she said on Meet the Press earlier this year. Trump has also suggested he would shoot Iranian boats out of the water if they made rude gestures at U.S. ships. Alright, I just had to laugh at this. President Hassan Rouhani chastised U.S. presidential contenders Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump, calling the American election a choice between bad and worse. I'd love to know which one he thinks is bad versus worse. I know, that's definitely a departure from what I normally bring you, but I just thought it was so intriguing that he saw the election the way many American voters see it. And you know I like to bring you the interesting stuff. I'm going to discuss the two candidates in depth. Absolutely not. Alright. That's that. Alright. Moving on to our other favorite friend in the news. Well, in this case it's a duo. North Korea and China. China's Vice Foreign Minister visits North Korean capital. And this article is dated Monday, October 24th. Now, it doesn't tell me exactly when the visit was, but usually this stuff doesn't stay hidden for too long. China's Vice Foreign Minister Liu Zhenhong arrived in North Korea on Monday. North Korean state media reported it in the first visit by a high-ranking Chinese official since February, according to Kyodo News Agency, which is Japan's news agency. Liu's visit comes as Washington and its allies urge Beijing to agree on tough new United Nations Security Council sanctions against North Korea after it conducted a fifth nuclear test in September. For those of you who do not recall, that nuclear test was the biggest to date. It's estimated between anywhere from 10 to 20 kilotons, depending on who you want to listen to. Do we know exactly how much nuclear material they tested? Absolutely not. Do we believe they're getting ready for a sixth test? See something going on at the test site. We're not sure what. I mean, it's not like we can get somebody in there and listen to their conversations all the time. This is the Hermit Kingdom we are discussing. North Korea's KCNA news agency said that Liu led a Chinese delegation attending the third meeting of the DPRK-China Border Joint Commission. China is North Korea's main ally, but it is angered by Pyongyang's nuclear and ballistic missile tests. Alright, let's discuss that sentence for just a second. China likes the buffer between Western and China. China is a trading partner, not so much military side. It's definitely economic only. Why? Have to ask the Chinese for that, and I don't have the answers under my nose, so I'm just gonna say that's the way it is for now. I can work on that one. It won't be for tomorrow, but I can work on that one. But China likes the idea of not having, remember, South Korea is a U.S. ally. And if the North falls, or the North gets taken over by the South and the United States, thereby forcibly reuniting the two Koreas into one, the United States will be on China's doorstep. And while China is huge, they don't want to see the U.S. on their doorstep. That's why they kind of keep the pesky little cousin North Korea around. How much do these tests anger China and anger China? I think they anger them enough to say something publicly. Do I think they're actually going to reach out and try and stop the tests? Don't think so. Why? Right now, we've got an extra thorn in our side. China doesn't care if the U.S. has a thorn in its side called North Korea. They're like, hey, you go pay attention to that tour. We'll be over here doing something else. Alright. If you couldn't have written this article, you are not a regular listener to this show. North Korean officials lashed out Monday at efforts in the United Nations to strengthen sanctions following the North's latest missile launches and nuclear tests in September. Sanctions targeting the nuclear test and missile tests are quote-unquote criminal documents, and Pyongyang has accused the United States of orchestrating the condemnation. Well, no kidding. Do you really think China or Russia is going to orchestrate the condemnation of North Korea? No. Wait a minute. Where did I get Russia in the middle of this? Alright, A, they have a permanent seat on the Security Council. B, they have veto power. C, Russia and Iran are friends. Russia and Iran work together on many, 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 many things. Iran is North Korea's trading partner. And if these two isolated kingdoms are willing to trade together, then I'm going to say Russia has an interest in what's going on in North Korea. Because Russia has an interest in all things Iran. Resolutions determined that our nuclear tests and satellite launch pose threats to international peace and security. But then the problem is, why has the UN Security Council never taken these actions with the nuclear tests and satellite launches conducted by other countries? The issue has intensified since the United Nations and South Korea said they detected 2 failed North Korean missile launches this month, possibly of a Musudan, intermediate-range ballistic missile. UN's most powerful body, Security Council, in a statement provided last week by its 15 members, supported all North Korean missile tests, saying that the country, that they contribute to the country's, hang on, I lost my place. The issue has intensified since the United States and South Korea said they detected 2 failed North Korean missile launches this month, possibly the Musudan intermediate-range ballistic missiles. Now, for a reminder, a ballistic missile is something you can put a nuclear warhead on. The UN's most powerful body, in a statement approved last week by its 15 members, deplored all Korean missile tests, saying they contribute to the country's development of nuclear weapons, delivery systems, and increased tensions. Security Council members called on all countries to redouble their efforts to implement sanctions and express regret that Pyongyang is diverting resources when its citizens have great unmet needs. Remember the floods? I guarantee you North Korea has not completely recovered from those floods. Those floods were horrific. Those floods were devastating. Those floods have taken lives. The aftermath from those floods will be no different than it is anywhere else in the world. An international financial regulator has asked all member countries to discontinue North Korea. Financial Action Task Force in France has requested states to be compliant with UN Security Council Sanctions Resolution 2270. Statements included the immediate termination of any North Korean bank branches, member countries, and suspension of all currency exchange with North Korean banks. Jurisdictions should take the necessary measures to close existing branches, subsidiaries, and representative offices of North Korean banks within their territories and terminate correspondent relationships with North Korea branches where required by relevant UN Security Council Resolutions 2270 and FAFT. South Korea's Financial Supervisory Commission Financial Intelligence Unit said that the Paris-based organization convened for a meeting from October 15th to October 21st and adopted an official statement regarding North Korea. All right. I am probably going to cut the show short just by a bit. I do have one more article, and I also have a nice audio clip for you guys. North Korean Vice Foreign Minister Han Sol-ryol repeated the need for a peace treaty with the U.S. in closed-door talks between Pyongyang and Washington. A group of former, please note that word, I'm going to read the sentence again. A group of former U.S. diplomats held closed-door talks this weekend with senior Pyongyang officials, even as international efforts to gather peace further isolate North Korea diplomatically and economically. A meeting in Kuala Lumpur, which was confirmed by the South Korean and U.S. governments, was just the latest two-day meeting, a series of unofficial talks commonly referred to as Track 2. Alright, I do not have a good news story for you. Let me see. Oh, I've got that audio clip I promised. Hang on. I almost forgot about it. Sorry, your host is wiped out today. Alright, let's take a listen.
Yeah. former U.S. officials?
The Track 2 meetings, I think, are routinely held a variety of the world. They occur independent of the United States government and speak about the details of these the conversations in any more detail.
So it happens independent of U.S. government. Does it mean that the two former U.S. officials who led the talks will not report to the U.S. government?
I'm not aware of a readout. I can check on that, whether we that doesn't, but being informed of the discussions doesn't in them. Check on that. I'm not aware that we have. I don't think it's the kind of thing that we would. These are not new idea. These Track 2 discussions.
Why did an informal dialogue in consider?
Because, as I said, there's no U.S. government involvement here.
Every week.
This is done by private citizens. Typically, they discuss a range of issues. Involvement in it, so it wouldn't be appropriate for me to get up here and read them out.
Yeah, yesterday, Chinese government remarked that there was progress in talks. Has there been any progress in detail?
Progress in what?
Detail.
In what?
Detail.
In detail.
Yeah.
I'm not, again, if the comment made by the Chinese is about Track 2 discussions, I'm not going to get into. What I can tell you is, and what we said before, is that we remain open to dialogue with the DPRK. And authentic negotiation. Also said the onus is on the North to prove that they're able, willing, and ready to join in those discussions through the six-party.
How would Chinese government knew that this is informal talk between U.S. and North Korea? Why Chinese involved this?
Your question assumes that that's what they're referring to, that they're reading out these discussions. I don't know that that's true, and even if it is true, you'd have to talk to the Chinese about that, not me.
It will be the official dialogue in the new administration's progress for us going forward.
I'm sorry?
If a new
Alright, I think that was enough of that audio clip. I was hoping it was going to get to a point. I hadn't completely previewed it. Alright, folks. Your host is signing off a little early tonight. I want you guys to remember to tune in to the Stafford Voice at the top of the hour, right here on KLRN Radio. And on that note, you regular listeners know what's coming. Yeah, you do. On that note, I'm out of here!